Hi there, my name is Foghlu. I'm one of the 2021 Irish Nuffield Scholars. My topic is acquiring social licence to return trees to the Irish landscape. Just to give a bit of context, like most of Western Europe, Ireland would have once been covered in woodlands. Over the millennia, humans cleared them to make way for agriculture, and by the year 1900, Ireland was down to just 1% forestry. Successive government policies have brought that figure back up to around 11%. Most of that is now exotic conifers for timber production. We've got a national target of hitting 18%. Unfortunately, in recent years, progress has stalled due to legal challenges and environmental concerns. My research is going to focus on how to integrate trees into farm systems, which the Irish policy to date hasn't really looked into. And there are many ways of integrating trees into farm systems, from agroforestry to groves to commercial woodlands to native woodlands to riparian woodlands and much, much more. And there are many evidence-based reasons for doing so, from water attenuation to carbon sequestration to water and nutrient cycling to browse and shelter for livestock. But today we are talking about the biodiversity benefits of trees. Trees have huge capacity to facilitate biodiversity on agricultural landscapes. They do this mainly by adding complexity to simplified landscapes, adding three-dimensional structures upon which biodiversity can find niches. So let's look at some of those biodiversity benefits. They start well below ground level, where trees' roots act in symbiosis with a host of beneficial bacteria, microbes and fungi. These are alder that I planted 4 years ago. They have a really interesting interaction with a bacteria called Frankia alni. Frankia alni is able to sequester atmospheric nitrogen, which it exchanges for carbohydrates. One species of American alder, the red alder, has been known to be able to sequester up to 300 kilograms of atmospheric nitrogen per year. Trees also bring huge benefits to pollinators, maybe usually synonymous with grasslands. Willow, for example, is a critical early source of pollen for bees just out of hibernation. Species like the willow and the oak tree can host over 300 different types of insects, numbering in tens of thousands of individuals on a single tree. As I said earlier, one of the key benefits trees bring is adding structural diversity to landscapes, three-dimensional structures upon which other species can benefit. One such group of species is known as epiphytes. These are plants which grow on the surface of other plants.
Sorry guys, I was having microphone difficulties. Epiphytes are typically made up of species groups like ferns, mosses, liverworts or lichens. Here in the west of Ireland we have a unique ecosystem known as temperate rainforest. Here in the wet conditions, epiphytes thrive, cloaking every square inch of available surface. Of course, there is also the more obvious biodiversity, which utilises trees here in Ireland, birds and mammals. Many native birds like the wren or the blackbird or summer visitors such as the willow warbler use trees as a food source and for nesting in. Some of our most endangered mammals such as the red squirrel and the pine marten are tree specialists and have benefited from increased deforestation. It is, however, worth remembering that trees are not a silver bullet and in some instances can actually damage biodiversity. Trees planted too close to ground nesting birds such as curlew or lapwing can host predators like foxes or crows, which can seriously impact breeding output. As the popular saying goes, it's about getting the right tree in the right place for the right reasons. So I hope I have convinced you here today that trees can be a powerful tool in our fight to restore biodiversity to farmland. So what's stopping us from integrating more trees onto our landscape? Many would suggest the issues are simply financial, and there's no doubt the economics of trees can be complex, but my research indicates culture and unintended consequences of land use policy are also key barriers. Ireland is a pastoralist society specialising for thousands of years in grazing animals on open ground. We are not culturally familiar with trees and their benefits, financial or otherwise. Because our competitive advantage is grass growing, we have production orientated policies which actually penalise landowners from integrating trees onto their farm systems. We are looking down the barrel of a new common agricultural policy here in Europe. Hopefully this will acknowledge the beneficial roles trees can play in agricultural systems. Thanks for listening.